What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Bud Crawford had this to say to Gervonta Tank Davis and about Gervonta Tank Davis. He simply tweeted, "Stay away from Vasyl Lomachenko and at the real Devin Haney." That's it. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get a lot of you're going to hear a lot of comments, which I'm looking at his comments of Terence Crawford. Of course, Terence Crawford and Gervonta Tank Davis have someone in common. They both beat Gamboa at this point. But of course, when Terence Crawford beat Gamboa, guys, let me counterpunch. First of all, that was 5 years ago. A lot can happen in 5 years, believe me. Okay. And that was when Gamboa was in his prime. He was sharp. He was younger. He was undefeated. Okay. And he was a champion. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis is younger. He's 25 years of age. He's fighting someone 38. Okay. You're fighting someone 38 that could be your father. People, we need to understand that. Gamboa could be his father. And to go 12 rounds with your father when you are just 13 years your senior. 13. Okay. So it's not a good look for Gervonta Tank Davis that he went 12 rounds. He should have got him out in five or less. Okay. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis, I noticed about him, he gasses out. But it's a good thing that he learned this. Like I said, it's a good thing that he learned this, but a lot of people now are trying to give excuses for him. Oh, well, he wasn't in shape. Well, whose fault is that? This is the guy that they're trying to build up on TMT, on Mayweather Promotions to be the next Mayweather. You got to remember this guy. This guy they're backing a lot of this fight. Do you think they're doing all that protection for nothing? Do you think for a second that Leonard Ellaby, Floyd Mayweather, and all these guys are investing money into Gervonta Tank Davis for nothing? No, they want a return on their investment. They took a guy that was a good prodigy from DC and gave him hope and gave him the opportunity. That's why they've been putting him in fights like this, because they're trying to build him. Before he makes major money, before they put him in major risk, they want to see if he can beat guys like Gamboa. But when he does it in 12 rounds, it looks bad. Why do you think Terence Crawford said that? Now, back to Terence Crawford. It's not his fault, okay? Gervonta Tank Davis started this before everybody starts and says, oh, he's a hater and all this, and he's giving him all this shit. But he should. He should give him that shit because, first of all, Gervonta Tank Davis did this to himself. Nobody told Gervonta Tank Davis to talk about Terence Crawford the way he did. Maybe Terence Crawford wouldn't have said something. Maybe he would have, because it's his right to say how he feels about the fight, always. But Gervonta Tank Davis, he did say, which I didn't cover. I looked at it and like, okay. But now I am, because Terence Crawford has spoken. The #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world has spoken about Gervonta's performance. Okay, and Gervonta had the nerve to say, well, Gamboa had Terence Crawford hurt at one point of that fight. Yes, 5 years ago. Yes, when he was a champion that you supposed to have been defending, which you can't even defend, right? I don't even know if he made weight. Did he even make weight or what? I'm not even sure if he made the weight. I believe he did. I'm not even sure. I didn't even read up on it. I just know he missed it, okay, by 1.5 pounds. But when Terence Crawford said that, stay away from Lomachenko, stay away from Devin Haney after the performance, what do you expect him to say? Because if you would have been in there with one of those guys, they would have beat you. You would have took your first L. Hopefully you would have got paid for it, right? But that just goes to show you that Gamboa, and here's the thing about Gamboa. Gamboa has a particular injury at this point. So he wasn't even at 100% being 38. So he wasn't even a healthy 38. Okay. He injured himself during the fight. Okay. He wasn't, because he wasn't acting like that in the first round. He was pretty elusive or whatnot. Now he still was getting caught with the left straight. Okay, the left straight was catching Gamboa all night. And then when he went down, it was from really in a left uppercut, and it was a punch he didn't see because of how Gervonta Davis threw it. Okay, but he was injured. So you mean to tell me you went with a 38-year-old guy, 13 years your senior, injured, you fought this motherfucker for 10 rounds more than you supposed to? That's sad. That's sad. That's some shit that would make people like Terrence Crawford, Paula Malignaggi, guys like that say things about you. Hey, you're not ready for those guys yet. Okay, but it's okay because maybe that's why his handlers didn't put him in there with people right away. Why do you think they're still prepping him? He's in prep mode. That's what they do. They put these fighters and they prep them. They put them in there with older guys. Once upon a time, used to be the shit guys. Those type of dudes. Then decent guys. So when the decent guys, when they start fighting those guys, that's when you start to see who Gervonta Tank Davis really is. Gamboa's was phase one. Okay, he was phase one. He's the type of dude, he wasn't supposed to do certain things. Now just imagine if he would have been fine. I think Gamboa should retire. I thought that 2 years ago. He wasn't the same fighter he used to be. And it's sad watching any fighter that had all this talent diminish because you can see it in the performance. You can see what he used to do versus what he does now. Okay, so yeah, it is sad to see that. So for me personally, yeah, he should have retired a couple years ago. So when they did announce Gamboa and Davis, I'm like, okay, this is another cherry pick. You know what I mean? This is one of those things. This would have made sense 4 or 5 years ago. I thought I was more optimistic about Ortiz versus Wilder than I ever was a Gamboa Davis. Okay? Because when you're in a lower weight class and you're smaller fighters, your reflexes are a necessity. You need those. Okay? Heavyweights, you need power, and the power is the last to go from any fighter. Ask any fighter. Right? But it's certain things that still leave you being a heavyweight. But the power isn't a factor. That's why I was more optimistic about Ortiz and Wilder and a fight like that, for an example. But Davis supposed to got Gamboa out of there, which he didn't do. Now he's getting the flack for it. He wanted to talk a little shit to Terence Crawford because he's been the pound-for-pound best fighter on Twitter. Okay? So he's been running his mouth, so he should expect this type of ridicule. But like Terrence Crawford did say, he's not ready. Stay away from Vasyl Lomachenko and Devin Haney. I would add, of course, Teofimo Lopez also. Okay, he forgot one. But I would add those 3 guys to it. That would be my counterpunch to Terence Crawford. You guys tell me what you think about Terence Crawford's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.